The ring general just did the unthinkable. He looked into the camera with ice-cold eyes and said words that will echo through wrestling history forever. John Cena, the man who never gives up, the 16-time world champion, the face that runs the place, tapped out. And Gunther? He called him a little. Well, you heard what he said. This is not just wrestling anymore. This is personal. This is war. And what you're about to witness might just change everything you thought you knew about respect, legacy, and what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. What happened on Monday Night Raw wasn't just another match. It wasn't just another promo. This was a declaration of dominance that sent shockwaves through the entire WWE universe. Gunther, the longest-reigning Intercontinental Champion in history, the man who has destroyed everyone put in front of him, just verbally annihilated one of the greatest wrestlers to ever step foot in that squared circle. And you know what? Part of me, just a small part, wonders if he's absolutely right. Before you come for me in the comments, hear me out. Because what we witnessed this week on Raw was more than just trash talk. It was a statement. It was Gunther planting his flag on top of the mountain and daring anyone, to knock him off. But here's where it gets really interesting. John Cena doesn't back down. He never has. And that's exactly what makes the situation so explosive, so unpredictable, so absolutely must-see television. Before we dive deeper into this absolute madness, I need you to do something for me. If you're watching this right now and you feel that electricity running through your veins, that same feeling you get when something truly special is about to happen in wrestling, hit that subscribe button. Because here at SLAMZONE, we're not just a channel. We're a family. We're the people who stay up late arguing about finishers and 5-star matches. We're the ones who remember where we were when our favorite moments happened. And I promise you, what's building between Gunther and John Cena is going to be one of those moments you'll tell your friends about for years to come. Ring that notification bell because you don't want to miss a single second of this rivalry as it unfolds. Drop a comment right now and tell me, are you Team Cena, or are you riding with the ring general? Because this divide is real, and I need to know where SLAMZONE Nation stands. Now, let's break down exactly what happened and why this might be the most dangerous game John Cena has ever played. The arena was electric. You could feel the anticipation crackling through the air like lightning before a storm. Monday Night Raw, December 15, 2025. A date that might go down in history. The crowd was hot, waiting for something, anything to push them over the edge. And then his music hit. That unmistakable, earth-shattering entrance theme that makes grown men nervous. Gunther, the ring general, walking down that ramp with the kind of confidence that only comes from absolute, undeniable dominance. His presence alone changes the atmosphere. You can see it in people's faces. This isn't showmanship. This isn't a character playing a role. This is a man who has systematically dismantled every single opponent who dared to challenge his reign. His Intercontinental Championship run wasn't just impressive, it was historic. 666 days of pure, unfiltered destruction. Legends fell. Future stars crumbled. The mat became his kingdom, and those chops? Those brutal, chest-caving chops that echo through arenas and make audiences wince? They became the sound of inevitability. The microphone was in his hand now. The crowd was buzzing, some cheering, some waiting with bated breath for what the ring general would say. Because when Gunther speaks, people listen. Not because he yells. Not because he uses cheap insults or tired catchphrases. But because every word carries weight. Every sentence feels like a verdict being handed down from a judge who has seen all the evidence and reached an undeniable conclusion. And then he said it. The words cut through the arena like a knife through butter. John Cena, the name alone carries decades of history, triumph, and legacy, tapped out. Not in some forgotten match from years ago. Recently. Against Gunther. The man who never gives up actually gave up. And Gunther wasn't content to just state the fact. No, he took it further. He looked directly into that camera, knowing millions were watching around the world, and he added those words that nobody, and I mean nobody, expected to hear on WWE television in 2025. Like a little, you know the rest. The crowd reaction was instantaneous. Gasps, cheers from some, shock from others. Social media exploded within seconds. Twitter was on fire. Instagram was flooded with clips. YouTube thumbnails were being made in real time. Because this wasn't just disrespectful. This was Gunther burning down the temple. This was him taking everything John Cena represents, the hustle, the loyalty, the respect, and setting it ablaze right there in the middle of the ring. But here's what makes this so compelling, so absolutely gripping. Gunther wasn't wrong about the facts. John Cena did tap out. That submission loss is real. It's documented. It's on tape. And that's what makes this so dangerous. Gunther isn't some delusional heel making up stories. He's a man stating uncomfortable truths with brutal efficiency. He's holding up a mirror to John Cena and forcing all of us to confront reality. The psychology here is masterful. Think about it. John Cena's entire identity, his entire persona for over 2 decades, has been built on never giving up. How many times have we heard that phrase? How many kids grew up with those words as their mantra? Never give up isn't just a catchphrase, it's a movement, a lifestyle, a promise. And Gunther just reminded everyone that even promises can be broken. Even legends can be forced to submit. Even the greatest of all time can be made to quit. The implications of this are staggering. Because we're not just talking about one match anymore. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about pride. We're talking about a man who has spent his entire career building himself into an icon, being called out in the most brutal, personal way imaginable. John Cena has faced every challenge thrown at him. He's overcome odds that would break ordinary men. He's carried companies on his back. He's made wishes come true for thousands of kids battling impossible circumstances. He's transcended wrestling to become a global superstar. And now he has to decide how to respond to a man who might actually be his equal or worse, his superior in that ring. You can feel it coming. The tension is building like a pressure cooker ready to explode. John Cena won't stay silent. He can't stay silent. This isn't just about defending his reputation. This is about defending everything he stands for. This is about proving that one loss doesn't define a career. That one submission doesn't erase 2 decades of excellence. That the ring general might have won a battle, but the war is far from over. Gunther knows this too. You could see it in his eyes during that promo. He's not just confident, he's certain. He believes, with every fiber of his being, that he represents the future while John Cena represents the past. That the old guard needs to step aside for the new generation. That respect is earned, not given, and that past accomplishments mean nothing when you're locked in that ring with him, staring across and realizing that all your experience, all your moves, all your heart might not be enough to overcome pure, technical brutality. Listen, I can feel your energy through the screen right now. I know you're invested in this. I know you're already forming opinions, already thinking about what happens next. That's why I need you to do something for me, for us, for this incredible community we're building together. Smash that like button if you're as hyped about this rivalry as I am. Subscribe to SLAMZONE because we're going to cover every single development, every promo, every stare down, every moment that builds toward what might be the match of the year. Share this video with your wrestling friends because this conversation is too important to keep to yourself. We're witnessing something special, and I want all of us to experience it together. But let's dig even deeper into what makes this so compelling. Because on the surface, this looks like typical wrestling drama: challenger disrespects champion, champion responds, match gets made, winner takes glory. But this is so much more layered than that. This is about 2 completely different philosophies of what wrestling should be. John Cena represents the larger-than-life superhero, the guy who overcomes impossible odds through sheer willpower and heart. He's the comeback kid, the underdog who became the top dog, the man who made "You Can't See Me" into a cultural phenomenon. Gunther represents something else entirely. Technical precision. Methodical destruction. He doesn't need catchphrases because his chops speak louder than words. He doesn't need elaborate entrances because the terror in his opponent's eyes when his music hits is entrance enough. He's European strong style incarnate. He's what happens when you combine old-school wrestling psychology with modern athletic ability and wrap it all in an aura of invincibility. When these 2 worlds collide, something has to give. Someone's philosophy has to be proven right, and someone's has to be exposed as outdated. That's the real story here. That's what has the WWE universe so divided right now. Because both men have legitimate arguments. John Cena can point to 16 world championships, countless classic matches, and a legacy that will outlive his in-ring career by decades. Gunther can point to his unprecedented title reign, his string of victories over top-tier opponents, and the fact that when it mattered most, he made John Cena tap out. The crowd during that promo was split. You could hear it. Some were chanting for Cena, defending their hero. Others were acknowledging Gunther's dominance with respect. This isn't a clear-cut hero versus villain story anymore. This is 2 titans with legitimate claims to greatness, and only one can be right. Think about what both men have sacrificed to get here. John Cena gave everything to WWE. His body is held together by sheer force of will at this point. Countless injuries worked through. Countless personal sacrifices made. He became the face of the company during its most challenging times and carried that weight without complaint. Even now, as he transitions to Hollywood and other ventures, he comes back because he loves this business, because he respects the fans, because he wants to prove he's still got it. Gunther came to WWE with something to prove. He wasn't handed opportunities. He wasn't fast-tracked to the main event. He built his reputation match by match, chop by chop, win by win. The Intercontinental Championship became the championship during his reign because he elevated it through pure excellence. He took a title that some saw as secondary and made it feel more prestigious than any other belt in the company. That's not luck. That's mastery. So when these 2 men face each other, it's not just physicality. It's competing legacies. It's the past proving it still has value versus the future demanding its moment. It's everything that makes professional wrestling the most emotionally compelling form of entertainment on the planet. And here's what keeps me up at night thinking about this: what if Gunther is right? What if John Cena has reached the point in his career where his legend exceeds his current ability? What if that tap-out wasn't a fluke or a bad night, but an honest representation of where both men are right now? That possibility is terrifying for Cena fans. Because if it's true, then everything changes. The aura of invincibility shatters. The comeback story has no satisfying ending. The legend doesn't ride off into the sunset on his own terms. But what if John Cena proves everyone wrong? What if he uses this disrespect as fuel? What if he digs deeper than he's ever dug before and finds a way to defeat the ring general in a way that leaves no doubt, no asterisks, no questions? That possibility is equally terrifying for Gunther supporters. Because if Cena can overcome him, then maybe Gunther isn't the unstoppable force he appears to be. Maybe the young lion still has lessons to learn from the old lion. That's the beauty of this moment. Nobody knows what happens next. And in an era where so much wrestling feels predictable, where we can see outcomes from miles away, this uncertainty is precious. This is why we watch. This is why we care. This is why wrestling, at its absolute best, is unlike anything else in entertainment. The next chapter of this story is going to be written soon. Whether it's another verbal confrontation, a physical altercation, or a match announcement that breaks the internet, something is coming. You can feel it building. Both men are too proud, too competitive, too driven to let this simmer without boiling over. And when it does? When these two finally settle this properly, the wrestling world will stop and watch. Because this is where legends are made. This is where careers are defined. This is where we find out if John Cena still has that magic, that ability to reach down and pull out a performance that reminds us why he became who he is. And this is where we discover if Gunther is truly ready to take the throne from one of the greatest to ever do it, or if he's just another impressive champion who couldn't quite reach that final level. One more time before we close this out, I need you to subscribe to SLAMZONE. I need you to hit that like button and share this video everywhere. Because we're just getting started covering this incredible rivalry. The comments section is going to be on fire, and I want to hear from every single one of you. Are you Team Cena or Team Gunther? Who do you think wins when they inevitably face off again? And honestly, was Gunther out of line with what he said, or was he just speaking uncomfortable truths? The ring general fired a shot that will be heard around the wrestling world for months. John Cena, the man of 1,000 comebacks, faces maybe his greatest challenge yet, not just defeating Gunther, but reclaiming the respect that was stripped away with 7 brutal words. This isn't about championships anymore. This is about pride. This is about legacy. This is about 2 men who have dedicated their lives to this business, refusing to back down. And we get to watch it all unfold. What a time to be a wrestling fan. What a time to be part of SLAMZONE Nation. The war has just begun, and I promise you we're going to be here for every single moment until this story reaches its epic conclusion. Stay locked in, stay passionate, and never, ever give up on the things that make you feel this alive. This is SLAMZONE, and I'll see you in the next one.